Very good afternoon, everybody. How are you all doing today? Wow, it's such an amazing thing to see such bright, smiling faces. I hope you have a good session today. What I'm going to talk about today is something really close to my heart, but before we actually get into all of that, this is just a slide to show you who I am, to talk about who I am, just so that you know who your speaker is for the next 30 minutes or so. My name is Anushka Lydia Isaac. I am currently a professor. I am also a PhD researcher. I hold a PhD in business and management. Let's rewind back a little bit, right? I was born and brought up in the UAE. I've lived in UAE my whole life. Usually when I tell people this, the first thing that they start doing is calculating my age. But I can assure you, whatever number you're thinking, I'm 10 years younger than that. So you can think of any number that suits you, right? But I studied in our own English high school, something that you might have heard of. I went on to do my bachelor's in engineering, not because I'm smart, but because I really didn't have any other option at that point, and I come from a traditional brown family from India. We assume that if you're successful in life, you either become a doctor or a lawyer, or maybe a politician that's really rich, or you're to fend for yourselves, right? So I went on to do engineering. 4 years gave me a good amount of time to decide what I actually wanted to do with my life, so I was not really. It was more of me surviving those 4 years to decide what I can do moving forward. After 4 years, I went on to do an MBA, just like every other engineer does. That was my next call. I had absolutely no idea that I would get into the profession of teaching education, right? That was something that I dreaded for my entire life, to be honest. I really swore to everything that I know that I will never be a teacher and never be a professor, but that's exactly what I do for a living, and trust me, it's a blessing in disguise, right? So this interaction, this standing on for 2 hours, 3 hours, I do on a regular basis, meeting with my students, hopefully changing lives. I wouldn't really say students are any more influenced by teachers, but maybe 1 in 10, maybe 1 in 20, I hope I do influence their lives in some way. But that's about me. That's a quick QR code to my LinkedIn. You can simply search my name on LinkedIn as well. Add me to your network so that we learn from, I believe learning happens in all different ways, in all different shapes and form from everybody. So that's an easy way to connect with me. Now, what is it exactly that I'm going to talk about today? Any guesses? Any idea? Anything that comes to your mind at all? Maybe from the look of the poster, from me, or anything that you think, anything that I would have told you about me. What do you think I could be discussing today? Sorry? Improve skills, okay. Anything else? Anything, there's no wrong answer here.
Connection with the deeper self.
Okay, wow, connection with the deeper self, that's a very deep topic. Very close to that, in fact, is what I'm going to be talking today. So when I was brainstorming, because the idea of Skill Up Lab is that you're learning something, you are developing a skill, you're upgrading yourself, I really put a lot of thinking into deciding what is it that I want you to pick today, right? And I believe more than a skill, more than a learning per se, it's more of a lifestyle that you have to take home today. It's more of something that you can actually incorporate in practice in your life. Because honestly, a skill, a learning course, you can pick up a 30-minute YouTube video, and I'm sure they would do a much better job than I do. You can always learn. You can become a coder in 36 days. Just yesterday, I was seeing a video that's promised you that you could become a coder in 36 days, right? So anybody can learn any skill on YouTube these days. But what I want you to take away from this, and this topic per se, is very, very close to me because it's influenced me. I'm a standing evidence to how this works, and something that everybody does anyway, which is what brings me to the idea of a law. Right now, every time we talk about the word law, laws of nature, laws of Newton, law of gravity, is there anything that comes to your mind when I say law? Anything at all? Laws of gravity, let's say. Anything that comes to your mind? Anything specific? What makes law of gravity so important, so undeniable? Yeah, any ideas? Again, no wrong answers. Yes? Absolutely. Yeah, something that exists, something that you don't really have control over, but does impact your life in all ways and shape and form. Something that is undeniable, something that you cannot say, I don't believe in the law of gravity. Whether you believe it or not believe it, it will impact your life in some shape or form. And today what I'm going to do, hopefully in another 30 minutes, I'm going to introduce another law to you, which is undeniable, which is definitely going to work up, which is definitely existing all around us, whether you see it or you don't see it, deny it or believe it or so on. Now, before we actually get into the law concept, right? Now, what makes a law so special? Whenever there is a law of nature, a law of gravity, like I said, a law of Newton's 3 law about motions, for example, right? I'm sorry, the engineer in me just keeps coming up, but bear with me. Every time there we're talking about a law, 4 characteristics about it that you need to keep in mind. 1, every law is always based on empirical data. What do I mean by that? Something that's been tested, proven, data, statistics. Someone has researched over a period of time, tested with population, tested and seen what works and doesn't work, and then derived it as law, right? Which is what makes it so undeniable, which is what makes it so, so strong in its foundation, right? Another thing that defines a law is its complexity, the fact that it is not complex, the fact that it is simple, the fact that it applies to everybody, all parts of the population, everybody across nationality, gender, race. Again, like law of gravity, you cannot say it applies only on men and not on women and vice versa. It applies to everybody, a kid, a baby, an object, a human being, etc. Another factor that makes it a law is, again, its consistency factor. Again, across time, across days, any time of the year that you pick, whether it's in 1995 or 1920 or whether it's in 2023 that we're living in, a law continues to work, right? So something that's undeniable, something that's so strong in its foundation. I will tell you what the law is otherwise called in about the next 30 minutes, but I'm going to walk you through the law in the next few minutes, right? Now, before we actually get into this factor, there's a quick activity that I want you to, that I believe learning really happens with practice, so something that I actually want you to start doing, right? We're going to take 1 minute on the clock. If you have a pen and paper around you, I see some of you with books, that's great. If not, you can pick a notepad on your phone. On the count of 3, 2, 1, when everybody's ready, I'll give you a minute to be ready maybe. A notepad, a WhatsApp, to yourself, or a book, anything that works for you. You're just going to jot down a few words. Yeah, everybody ready? Okay, so what we're going to do at the count of 3 is I want you to think, of course, everybody knows the alphabets, A to Z, yeah? From A to Z, I want you to now start thinking of words that are positive. Right? Let's say we're starting with the word A. What's the first positive word with A that you can think of? What's the first positive word with B that you can think of? C, D, E, and go on, right? Let's see who gets the highest. There's no limit to it, but whoever gets the highest with the most number of alphabets. On the count of 3, 2, 1. One positive letter with each alphabet. Without taking the help of Google, let's see how many letters you get. Thirty seconds more. Ten seconds more. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, what's the highest we have? Anybody with 5? 5 words. Okay, wow. Anybody with higher than 5? 6? Okay, wow. 7, can we take 10? Anybody with 10? 11, wow, okay. Anybody with more than 11? 12? Okay. Yeah, 12? How many, sorry? 20, wow, fantastic, okay. So I'm guessing not more than 23. Anybody more than 20? Anybody who's got all 27? Okay, so 20 is the highest that we're still standing at. Okay, how difficult was it or how easy was it to come up with these words? It was easy? Okay, anybody saying it is difficult? Difficult? Okay. Right. Why did we do this now, right? Why was this exercise put in place to think of a word for each alphabet? The idea being, if you've ever heard of this phrase before, I am, right? What I call it a definition. Now, every definition, the special quality rather about a definition, if you remember learning, memorizing definitions in school, the idea of a definition is that it defines something for you, yes, but it also limits something to you, right? It tells you exactly what something can be and exactly what it cannot be. So it's giving you a very black and white picture. Now, this phrase that you see here, I am, is said to be one of the most powerful definitions out there. When you define yourself using this phrase, I am something, I am abundant, I am capable, I am rich, I am talented, I am skillful, right? You're literally defining yourself. It's just 3 words that I'm talking about. I am abundant, I am rich, right? But imagine the confidence that it takes for you to stand either in front of a mirror or in front of someone and say, I am rich. Look at you in the eye and say, I am rich. You're going to look back with me in doubt. You're going to look back with me in uncertainty. You're going to look back with me, at me, probably mocking me in your head saying, what are you even talking about? You absolutely don't look rich, or you absolutely don't look educated or skillful, right? So it takes immense amount of confidence to simply come up with this phrase. Now, what people tend to do and what we do as humans naturally is that whenever you maybe go back home and ask your kids, your family, husband, wife, spouse, parents, whoever it is, to tell you their dream for the next 5 years, right? Or maybe ask yourself this. Maybe your first 2 sentences would start with, okay, in 5 years I want to have a house, I want to have a car, I want to do this and that. But within the next 2 or 3 sentences, you will find yourself telling you what you do not want to do. And that's human tendency, right? Every time you're trying to define a goal, a dream, where you want to see yourself in the next 5 years, you will start off with something positive, but it will eventually move on to something negative. You'll end up saying, listen, I want to have a house. However, I don't want the house to have this, I don't want it to have that, and so on and so forth, right? Goes to say that as humans, it's very difficult for us, it's scientifically been proven that it's very difficult for us to consistently think of something positive. Something negative rather gets restrained in your mind, it gets registered in your mind a lot more quickly, right? Think about some compliment someone would have given you. Somebody might have told you, a stranger, passing by might have told you, hey, you look really good today. You have a very beautiful smile today. You look very cheerful today. How long does that register in your mind? Whereas somebody that you know, a friend, a colleague might have told you, you look a little weird today. You look very sleepy, you look very drained out. Why haven't you applied makeup? You look absolutely weird today. What's wrong with you, right? That stays in your mind for much longer. So scientifically, again, it just takes a lot more energy for you to consume something positive, for you to register something positive and keep that within yourself than what it takes for something negative. So now when you're defining yourself, you do not define yourself with something that you do not want to be. You do not define yourself with the words that you see there. I need, I want, I believe, I crave. Why not those words? Because when you start with something saying, a phrase saying, I need, I want, you're stating something from a state of lack. Does that make sense? Right? If I tell you, I want a car, it sounds fancy, yes, but that is also defining, like I said, the phrase I am tells you exactly what you are and what you're not. So when I tell you that, hey, listen, I have a car right now, but I'm not very happy with it, and I need to buy a new car. What idea does that give you? That I am driving a car, I do have a resource with me, but I'm also not very happy with it. I'm also in a place of lack. I'm also asking from lack that I want to buy a new car. I need a new car. I cannot survive without one. I cannot proceed with my life without one. I'm talking from a place of lack. So when you're, like I said, to exuberate confidence, to say something with so much energy and positive confidence, you cannot use these words. You start with I am. You start defining yourself with I am, right? Maybe take another 5 seconds to add something, maybe an adjective to the phrase I am. Who do you think you are? You don't have to necessarily share it. You can if you are comfortable. But otherwise, in your head, can you define yourself? If you could put only one adjective that describes you, I am dash, what can it be?
I am Davide.
I am sorry?
Davide.
Okay. Something that describes you.
I didn't say that because I wanted to be fun.
Okay.
I mean, it's fun, but I'm a lot into this kind of thing.
Okay, does it also mean you're unique because you are who you are?
It can be.
Okay.
But I just always try not to define myself
Mm-hmm.
because once that you define yourself, then you cannot go out, or better, your subconscious kind of doesn't let you go out from your definition of yourself.
Okay.
I'm really careful of what I say to myself or what I am.
But isn't that the beauty of definition? Can you always redefine yourself? Yes, it is true that it kind of constrains you into a circle, but can you then make bigger circles every time you reach that level?
I prefer discover while I'm going instead to define myself and then, maybe find that I precluding myself to become
Okay.
something
Okay.
just because I define myself in a circle.
Right, okay. Okay, anybody else? I am, what would you like to add to that? Okay, wow. Okay. Anybody else? Confident, okay, very nice. I like the smile that's coming with it. Anybody else wants to add? I'm patient, okay, wonderful. Right, so that's the idea with the first activity that I wanted to play. The second one now, again we're going to take about less than 1 minute on the clock. This time, I want you to take about, let's say 30 seconds out of the 1 minute, observe the room around you and observe everything that you see black in color. Black color, every object, every person, everything that's black in color. Observe that, register that in your mind, try and memorize it. It could be something small, something big, maybe an ornament you're wearing, maybe your shoes, your hair, your watch, anything. Something black in color. Actually, everything black in color in the room. Try and register as many objects as you can. Yeah, we good?
Done.
Okay. Can we all close our eyes for two seconds? Everybody, close your eyes. I can see open eyes staring at me. Yeah, now everything is black. Okay, everybody, closed eyes? Okay, from the same room that you now observed for about 30 seconds, can we try and remember everything that was blue in color? How many items can you remember blue in color?
Think of my wife.
It's blue?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Something that's not on you? Something that you might have observed around you, beside you, anything, any object, blue in color?
I think a blue uniform.
Okay, okay. So that's one.
And the board has a blue shape.
Okay,
Also, the guy in the image, I think he has something blue.
okay. 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 Okay, so we have a poster, we have the uniform, the guy in blue. Okay, open your eyes. Now, how difficult was it again to memorize something in black and then try and recollect something in blue? Difficult, easy, not so easy? Slightly difficult? Yeah. Now, that's the second part that I'm going to get to, focusing on what you want in life. Having a very crystal clear objective of what it is that you want to, where it is that you want to head, what is it that you want, and how exactly do you want that to be, right? A technique that we call visualization. Now, every time you're trying to visualize something, and I'm talking about something that is not really in hand yet, right? You're not visualizing something that you already have or you already possess. There was this very interesting quote that I came up on TikTok once. It said, the definition of faith is to believe in something that you have not really seen, that you don't really have right now. And if you can still picture it, you can still believe it, you can still see yourself having it, that's the whole definition of faith. So how many of us, again, have the ability to visualize something in crystal clear clarity that this is exactly what I want? Again, if you go back home and think about it, ask your family, your relatives about it, you will know how difficult it is, because every time you ask someone to draw up their dream, tell you exactly where they want to be, what it is that they want, you will find very abstract answers. I want a car that looks fancy, and I want a car that's black in color. That's the max they can probably come up with, right? But to define every other objective of the car, how customized do you want it to be? What's the number plate going to look like? What's the, what are the accessories within the car going to look like? You want a house, what's the carpeting going to look like? What's the flooring going to look like? What's the image on a wall, a painting on the wall going to look like, right? To come up with such minute details, again, comes from a place of confidence, from a place of seeing yourself there, from a place of visualizing yourself actually being there and experiencing that feeling, right? What does it, do we have the volume again? Okay. Yeah, in the meantime, we'll proceed. The video, otherwise, just to summarize, it talks about Oprah telling you exactly the same thing, right? The power of visualization, the power of seeing the dream and then actually living it, right? One of the best solution, or one of the best ways, if you have heard of this before, it's called a vision board, right? The idea is that you make a collage, a very simple combination of images of everything that you want to achieve in as much detail as you possibly can think of. Let's say in the next 2 years, you're looking to buy yourself a house, you are probably wanting to shift out or rent out to a better looking apartment, maybe you want to get yourself a car, maybe you want to get a degree, whatever it is that you see yourself in, you picturize or visualize yourself actually having achieved that particular goal. You imagine yourself as the owner of a car, the owner of a house, graduating from that degree that you're aiming to do. You imagine that you've already completed what it is that you wanted to complete, and you put up an image of that, right? Simply put, the concept of fake it till you make it. Every time you see this image, every time you see this, this collage, this collaboration, somewhere subconsciously you're registering within yourself that this is where I want to be. Your subconscious mind now consumes that, it tracks that, and it registers it at the deepest level of your conscious, right? This is what a simple visualization board looks like for someone who's adventurous, for someone who likes traveling. But again, like I said, you can have multiple different aspects of your life. You could have one with friends and family. You could probably have one with one of your friends that you might not be talking to, for instance, and you want to patch up with them. Whatever aspect of your life it is, you build something like this for yourself. You put it up in a place in your room where you constantly cross that path. Let's say every time you wake up at the side of your bed, or probably at the top of your desk in your workspace, somewhere where you can subconsciously register this, somewhere where you pass that that pathway or that image on a daily basis every day. Yeah? Does it sound like a woo-woo concept so far? Anything that sounds like, no, Anushka, this is not happening. You're just blabbering. You don't know what you're talking about. Anybody who thinks that? No? Because I'm going to, if you do think that, it's absolutely okay. But I'm going to prove you wrong in 2 seconds. So this is an image that I created for myself. This was way back when I wanted to get my license. And for everybody who's tried getting a license in the UAE, you might know how much of a task it is. Acquiring a UAE license is as good as taking up a professional development course because it does change you as a person by the time you come out of it. It's like you've taken a new life altogether. But because the entire process is challenging like that, I had put up this, I had designed myself a driving license card, right? Very much fake. Because the image will tell you that no way I'm looking that beautiful, no way anybody's looking that beautiful in an identity card, right? If you pick your Emirates ID, you would know what I'm talking about. But if you can notice the date on it, the issue date, if you can read that out for me. Is it visible?
10th March 2009.
Yeah. Why that date? Absolutely no reason. This was 6 months before I actually thought of the possibility of getting my license, right? So basically, whenever I registered, the day I registered at the institute, randomly, I looked up the calendar and I was like, okay, this looks like a feasible date, a very practical date. This looks doable. This looks not so challenging, not so close, not so near. I can actually achieve it, right? So very, very random date that I put up, 10th of March, 2019. And I told myself, if I get a driving license, this is what it's going to look like. And this is probably around this date is when I would want my license. And that's my actual driving license, if you can read the date on it. 2 days before the date that I actually wanted to get my license. Right now, this is absolutely no magical concept. There was no magic behind this at all. Simply that I visualized myself getting it. This image, the one that I created, I've absolutely blurred out my photo because I look horrible. But it is my ID. I can show you a physical proof of that with me. This one that I created, like I said, I gave myself a date that I thought would be reasonable, that I thought would be something that I actually can achieve. Had I given myself a very long date, something 1 year from now, it would have made me demotivated. It would have brought down my confidence. Something too early, in about 1 or 2 months, I would have told myself, listen, this is not happening. It's just a date I've put on the paper, but it's not something that I can actually achieve. So give yourself something reasonable. When I say draw up in more clarity, be more clear, but more reasonably clear as well, right? And this, like I said, is the actual license that I got. This copy of it used to always be where I place down my actual driving license, right? This is just one of the many examples. The current job that I'm working in, the exact position, the exact look of my offer letter turned out to be the way I had imagined it. My salary message, the message that you get every time from your bank saying your salary has been credited to your account, to the very fills, I'm not even kidding, has been exactly the way I wanted it to be. And at a point when I drew it all up, it was very random. I did not put a lot of thinking into it. It was something that I knew I wanted from the bottom of my heart, but I didn't really consciously try to manipulate it in any way. It was just something that I put out in the universe, right? And just to show you that it actually does work.
YouTube videos in your parents' basement. Now you have a late night show. I mean, that's incredible. Congratulations. So that's very, very. I mean, you must have envisioned this, right? If you have a vision board, you must have seen this happening.
Yes, well, being on the show has been on my vision board for 5 years, legitimately. And my fans were so keen on it as well that they've actually photoshopped many pictures of us together. And so people think I've already been on the show because they're so good at Photoshop, but I haven't. This is my first time. And my mom always told me, she was like, Lily, no matter what you do in life, no matter what movie, no matter what TV show, I do not care unless you get to go on Ellen's show. It is the marker of success for my mom. And she made me promise that if I ever go on your show, I have to bring her to the set.
All right, well, yes, I will invite you back. As soon as we're able to have people in the studio, you're our first guest back.
Lily Singh, if you actually know of her, if you've seen her around, she's an influencer on TikTok. She started making videos in her room because that was her way to get out of depression. She turns out to be one of the most influential, the 100 most influential women in the world. She's an author, she's written a book of her own, she's an entrepreneur and so on, right? But that's just to show you that all of this actually works. But we can keep talking for hours and hours about positivity, visualize what you want to do, go out there and achieve it, put it out in the universe. But at the end of the day, if you're not carrying a mindset of gratitude, if you're not being thankful for what you currently have, and like I said, don't wish for something from a place of unhappiness. Don't wish for something from a place of lack. Don't tell yourself that I'm very unhappy with the situation that I'm in right now, which is why I want X, Y, Z. Start with a place of gratitude. Be thankful for anything it is that you see around you, simply for being alive, simply for the air that you breathe, simply for your family, your dog, your pet, anything that you think is special to you. Be grateful, be genuinely thankful for everything that you have, and come from that place, right? So you're literally saying, I'm thankful for what I have right now. I'm very, very blessed to have what I do have right now: family, food, a roof over my head, a car that I'm driving, maybe a small one, but I'm happy where I am. But I would like to upgrade my dream. I would like to grow bigger and bigger in what it is that I want, right? So you start from a place of gratitude. This is just a bingo. You'll find many like this. The idea is that you try and pick as many things, maybe at the end of your day. Just take about 2 minutes. If you cannot write it down, then probably mentally think about it. Name 10 things that you are grateful for, right? And you'll realize it is, I wouldn't say difficult, but it is challenging, because you are taking a lot of things around you for granted. And only when you start losing those things is when you realize that, oh my God, I really liked something, right? You realize your attachment to it. So take 10 minutes, appreciate what it is that you have. Thank God, however you want to call them, God, universe, spirit, vibes, anything that you believe in, but thank the universe out there for what it is that you have, and then start envisioning something bigger. The idea that your thoughts become things, right? This was, again, all of this that I'm telling you right now was scientifically proven. One of my research under my PhD had, because I come from an organizational behavior background, we were trying to study the history of how all of this started off, right? If you've heard of the placebo effect, anybody here who might have heard of it? The placebo effect, right? The idea is that in the 1900s that we're talking about, right? The practitioners, medical practitioners, used to give out tablets that contained simply a sugar syrup, a mix of sugar and water, and induced into your capsules, and that were given to patients, telling them that, hey, listen, you have anxiety, you have diabetes, you have you think you have stress, you have a headache, why don't you take this tablet? Inside the tablet, it didn't have anything particular. It didn't have anything that was healing. It didn't have anything that was medicinal. It was simply a mix of syrup, sugar syrup, sugar mixed with water. Right, but the idea that every time you consume, again, if you think about it practically, how many of us actually go up and read the ingredients that a doctor might have prescribed to you? For all you know, it could be an incorrect prescription, but you simply believe that if I've gone to a doctor, he's checked me, he's done all the basic checks, and he's given me a tablet, I'm going to take that with 100% faith. And once you consume that, for some reason you believe and you tell yourself that I've taken a medicine today morning, my BP is going to go down, my sugar is going to go down, and everything that I'm feeling will automatically go down. You probably might still have a headache when you're taking it, when you're consuming it, but you tell yourself, listen, let's just give it 1 more hour. I've just taken a Panadol, my headache is going to disappear. Where is that faith coming from? Where is that confidence coming from? Who told you what is there in that tablet? Right? Did you actually go up and research and see it? But no, just because you believe in it, you're giving that power. So it's not the tablet per se, it's not the thing, it's not the object in itself, but it's your faith that you're putting into it that actually makes it powerful. So believe with all your heart, right? The power of affirmations, the power of positive words that you picked up, the power of defining yourself with the phrase I am, again, was very strongly conducted as research in a journal about the Journal of Psychology and Social Knowledge that was conducted in 2011, if I'm not wrong. They did this study with academic students, right? Students who were about to take up their exam in the next few months. They conducted this study with a subject group and a control group, and what they did was they told one group of students to constantly repeat the words, I am smart, I am intelligent, I'm a topper, I am capable of achieving so and so percentage. And there was a control group that did absolutely nothing. Turns out that the students who actually use these phrases did go out to achieve what they wanted to achieve. So you will find plenty of such examples like this. There was one more, for example, that was conducted by the Toronto Dominican Bank in US. They conducted an experiment again to see the impact of vision boards. Does it really work? Is it really impactful? They asked entrepreneurs, startup owners, small-time business owners to put up a vision board to design exactly what they wanted their business to look like in the next 6 months. When are you going to break even? What kind of inventory will you have? What will your setup look like? How many customers do you want coming into your place, etc., etc. 76% of these business owners, startup owners, went out to say that within the first 3 months, exactly what they pictured in their vision board was already done. And it was time for them to upgrade a new vision board, right? So all of this has been tried and tested very much. Muhammad Ali, if you guys have heard of him, again, for every match that he would go in, he's gone out to say, there are plenty of videos on YouTube again, he's gone out to say that before he starts every match, he would vision himself standing on that, on the center of that, the center of the stage, with the referee holding up his hand and declaring him as a winner. He would feel that feeling of emotion, that feeling of victory, that feeling of happiness, having achieved it, right? Very interestingly, there's been another study, which actually is the one that catches my attention most of the time, surprises me even today. The patient's name is Matthew Nagle. You can go up and Google it again. The patient is paralyzed from 4 limbs. Yeah, he met with an accident, a very crucial one. He was paralyzed all 4 limbs. We're talking about 2 hands and 2 legs. He started visualizing. He started imagining himself being able to move, being able to actually take action. And within 3 months of these visualizations, he had started to do what someone had declared as medically impossible, something that doctors had said, this is not going to happen. It's going to take a lot of physiotherapy to actually get him on his feet. He had started already doing very small movements like moving a cursor, being able to pick up certain objects, etc. Right? We're talking about someone who was paralyzed from an accident, all 4 limbs. So nothing to say that it isn't possible. I wouldn't say anything out there is impossible, but again, it comes from a place of faith. To demonstrate that, if I can again make you think for 2 seconds, right? If I tell everybody in this room, the minute you go out, probably the minute you get on the road, you're going to find a 5 dirham note. Right? Someone would have dropped it, someone would have left it by mistake, but you're going to find that 5 dirham note to yourself. Does that sound believable? Does it sound like it can happen? The probability of it can happen? You finding a 5 dirham note on the road? Sounds believable? Yeah? No? Yeah? Okay. It sounds easy, right? It is possible. It's not completely bizarre. You can find a 5 dirham note. Someone might have forgotten it. Someone would have dropped it. It is for you to take. It's just a 5 dirham note lying there, right? If I had to tell you that you again step out, when you go on the road, the first thing you find is a bag of cash. You open the bag and it's 10,000 dirham. Sounds believable? No, right? It sounds crazy. It sounds like you're almost being a criminal. The idea is that there is no change in the value of money. Of course, 5 dirham to 10,000 is a change. But it's again currency. It's again notes. It's again money. Who told you that 10,000 is bigger in cash and 5 dirham is lesser in cash? For somebody else that you might not know out there, for a daily wage worker, for example, 5 dirham is a big deal. So who put that thought into our head that 5 dirham is, it's okay, it's not that big a money, it's easy for me to find it. But 10,000, oh my God, we're not finding 10,000, right? Who put this thought into our head? It's because you have been cultured like that for over a period of time. From your family, from your relatives, from the background around you, you've picked up the idea that 5 dirham might not be great money, but 10,000 definitely is great money, and I'm not getting it just like that. So again, comes from your childhood experiences, your beliefs that you have deep down. Try and identify those beliefs. What is your perception about rich? Every time you talk to certain people, especially from the Asian background, and I say this with all positivity, right? We have been told that if you want to become a millionaire, you want to become rich, you want to become successful, you really, really, really have to work hard for it, right? At least the first 20 years of your life, you need to sweat out yourself, you need to be working 9 hours a day, you need to bow down to your bosses, you need to listen to what they say, because that's the only way to get to success. Who told us that? Why does the route to success have to be so difficult? But it's just so difficult to get rid of that idea because you've been told that from your very childhood. You've been told that, and you've been given that perception that, okay, if I need to become successful by 30, I really, really need to work hard. So now what you start doing at your early 20s is you start accepting a 9-hour work timing, you start accepting a very difficult boss, you start accepting anger management from your colleagues because you've told yourself and you're conditioned yourself that, okay, my parents and my grandparents did it this way, so the only way to become successful is that I accept this condition. right? So identifying those childhood beliefs, those experiences that stem, where is that conditioning coming from, and then accepting and upgrading and envisioning where it is that you want to be. The idea behind conscious mind versus subconscious mind, right? It actually says that your conscious mind, the one that we all think is the most active part of your brain, it consumes only about 5% of your activities. 95% of what you do on a daily basis, your actions, your words, your expressions, everything comes from your subconscious mind, right? Your conscious mind, and talking about the capacity of both, right? Your conscious mind can take up to 4 bytes of information per second that we're talking about in terms of, you know, the information, the data that you can take in. It takes 4 bytes of information. Your subconscious mind runs 4 million bytes of information. Right? You can again Google this up. The idea is that everything that you've believed over a period of time gets registered in your subconscious mind. It gets registered deep down, and that's how you're conditioned to program. That's how you're conditioned to act, you know, say something, express something, etc. So every time you do that from the next time, try and stop yourself, see if that is how you want to be. Ask yourself if that's the kind of person you want to be. And at the end of the day, it's the power that you exuberate, the power that you give out, right? A very simple example again. Let's say you've had a tiff with one of your colleague, one of your friend, right? Or let's say me, for example, just for the sake of role play. I'm a friend and I am yelling at you, right? I am going out and out with anger. I am speaking really hurtful things. I am saying things that would stay with you for years and years, right? I'm really, really hurting you emotionally, and I'm yelling at you at the top of my voice. Now, you have 2 choices right here. You can take all my words, you can literally not consume it, you can listen to me, to what I'm saying, because I'm expressing my emotions as well. You can give me the time, you can listen to what I'm saying, but you can at the end of the day say, Anushka, this is your opinion, I do not want to take what you're saying, I do not accept with one word that you're saying, I know who I'm capable of, and you can walk out. But what is the easiest option that we're conditioned to do again? You consume all of this. You go back and think about it. You go back and tell yourself that Anushka told I'm very incapable, I'm not talented, she's been working with me for 2 years and this is what she thinks about me. I thought she was one of my closest friends, but then this is her opinion about me, I'm shocked, and you really consume that, right? Now, everything that happens thereafter is the power that you are giving it. You can choose not to give power to my words. You can choose to give absolutely no power to my expression, my yelling at you, me saying anything to you at all. It's me standing here and expressing my emotions. You do not have to validate it. But very naturally, as humans, we tend to validate it. You tend to consume it, and thereafter, anything that happens between our friendship, our work, professional, colleagues, relationship, is that you are giving it power. You end up going and thinking that this is what Anushka thinks about me, right? Imagine next morning, I might have forgotten everything that I said because I said it at the spurt of the minute, right? I really don't think about what I said. I'm coming back to you and saying, hey, hi, how's your morning? How are you doing today? But you are coming with an entire night of thinking that this is what Anushka thinks about me. You're really hurt. You're really emotionally damaged. You feel betrayed. You feel anger. You feel all of these emotions. You're going to look at me, ignore me completely and say, you yelled at me yesterday. I'm not going to forget that. You walk out. So you see a repetition of actions that are happening is not because of what I said for 10 seconds. It's because you gave me power to what I said. You gave power to my words. You gave power to my action. Yeah? And this is the law that I've been speaking about the whole time, the law of attraction. Now, the reason I did not want to introduce that at the first slide is because the minute I say it's law of attraction, the book Secret and all of that, it sounds like a woo-woo concept, right? It sounds like it's something out of the world, sounds like it's bizarre. So I wanted to prove it to you that it does work scientifically, psychologically as well, and then introduce the idea. But law of attraction, simply put, tells you that your thoughts have power. Your thoughts can become things. Your thoughts become your words become your action, and then your action defines the rest of your life. So be very clear about everything that you see around you, an object, people, this whole event, anything that you see around you was initially a thought in someone's head. Someone thought about it, someone wanted to do it, and then they actually made it happen. So everything in the world around you starts with thought. Start thinking positively, and if you have so much of power to actually change the world with your thought, then choose wisely. Choose something that's full of life, choose something that's happiness, choose something that's full of health, that benefits you and the people around you. That is my time. Thank you so much. I hope you have a good time. Thank you.